This is the Boehm 24 Caprice Challenge and I'm playing number 20. So, study number 20. Well, I embarked on the 24 Caprice Challenge with some trepidation. I had played them many years ago when studying at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and then buried the book away, never planning to play them again. Yet, here we are, and with huge thanks to Liz and the many inspiring insights from all the amazing flautists and their generous sharing over the last few weeks, I have really enjoyed revisiting these studies and found a new appreciation of them. So, like many of the 24 Caprice, study number 20 is both a joy and a challenge to play. After the initial fun playthrough, we take a look beneath the surface and find that Boehm seems to be demanding more and more, not just technically, but musically. I played this study to my 19-year-old son and asked for his thoughts before I went to record. I want to share his reflection. He knew nothing about the music. I just asked him to listen and then to share a comment. After I had played, he said, "It's a very expressive piece. There is so much happening, you can get lost in it. It's waves of emotion, peaks and troughs of notes that sometimes travel with you in an emotional flow and sometimes challenge you with some kind of struggle." I think that's a fair summary. My personal experience of playing number 20 has been mainly frustration. After the initial fun of exploring the expressive nature of this study, the deeper I looked into it, the more challenging it became to play. Apart from the obvious technical aspects, I found several places where certain notes and implied harmony made no sense to me at all and started to cause me some distress. I started with the Chester edition, which I had buried all those years ago, and then I looked to the IMSLP version to clear up what looked like note anomalies, and things became less clear. I asked Liz for a photo of Harmonics edition and found yet more discrepancies of notes as well as markings. I analysed the harmony and I got more frustrated. I started to default to making my own decisions about what I thought would sound correct, which I suspect the editors of all the 3 editions I was now looking at had done themselves. I didn't really feel comfortable recording this with so many questions hanging over the actual notes, and really wanted to look at an original manuscript to find out what Boehm had actually chosen to compose. Having a chat with Liz, it turned out that she had contact details of Theobald Boehm's great-great-grandson Ludwig, who we contacted in case he could share an original manuscript. He replied fairly quickly and shared a copy of what he considers to be the most accurate version. There are apparently no autographs of Theobald Boehm's 24 Caprice, and most of his other compositions as well. Ludwig started gathering first editions and then more editions and investigating, and then finally commissioned Raymond Milan, I think that's how you pronounce his name, to compare the first editions published by Schott Mainz in 1851 and Richaud in Paris and Rudel and Rose in London, all published in the same year, and then compare with all the many, many editions that have been published since. These were analysed and a report made of the corrections and variations, and he undertook this process with all of Boehm's compositions, which took 30 years, and these editions were shared in 2010 and published in 2012. So, now having a copy of the most up-to-date version from the Theobald Boehm archive, I found yet more changes to the original 3 I was looking at. But this latest version does make a lot more sense harmonically, and I can trust it, and so that is the version I chose to record. But that's also why it might sound different to the version that you are playing from. I'll take you through those anomalies, which are in bars 6, 30, 31 and 41, as I talk a little bit more about the music. So, let's take a look at the study. Let's find some clues. Study number 20 is marked Andante. Andante is often described as faster than Adagio and slower than Allegro. So, somewhere between slow and leisurely and lively and fast, which I've always found rather confusing. More useful is that Andante is also described as at a walking pace. Of course, walking pace gives us a good variety of tempo. It really depends on how fast you walk, and that in turn depends on your mood, how much time you have on your hands, lots at the moment, and if there are any beauty spots along the way where you might just want to stop and take a moment to enjoy the view. So room for interpretation, which is excellent. Then, when we look a little bit more into the word andante, we find that it is a form of the Italian verb andare, hopefully I pronounced that right, which means to go. The Latin root ambire, which means to go around or to go about, and in some translations even to aspire. So, now we are getting somewhere. And this study certainly does go around and about and up and down. Its 50 bars are constructed from all those arpeggios, broken chords, scalic sequences using thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, and other huge leaping intervals, so lots of finger and lip flexibility required. The focus is firmly around F sharp minor, also exploring F sharp major, and a lot of pivoting around that dominant note of C sharp, especially that middle C sharp. And of course, C sharp has all sorts of challenges for us flute players, being so open across the tube of the flute, causing it to be a little weak in both colour and intonation, so possibly a very good note to work on in a study. As a musical piece, this study flows and dances, and it's really fun to explore the ebb and flow of tempo, phrasing, and emphasis in relation to harmony and your own personal breath control. So, I can share a few ideas that I was playing around with from my own personal perspective. I don't really feel I've finished getting to know this study, but this is where I've landed right now, and if I was to play it tomorrow, it might be slightly different again. Although this study says it's in F sharp minor, the musical notes dip in and out of related keys with frequent abandon, giving us lots of light and shade that we can draw on for our musical interpretation. This study is in 3 sections, the first in F sharp minor, the middle in F sharp major, and the third again in F sharp minor. And then at the end of this study, he tags on at bar 45 a completely new idea. The study could have ended on the F sharp in bar 44, but Boehm found there was more fun to be had. So he added this coda, F sharp minor of course, in a cadenza style ending. In the main part of the study, Boehm plays with 2 musical ideas, a dramatic melody in 4/4 with its contrasting rhythmical twists and leaps, and a continuous triplet idea that could possibly imply a 12/8, maybe. He switches between these 2 ideas, and so he clearly wants us to have fun exploring rhythm. So let's take a closer look, initially at just the first 4 bars. So bars 1 to 4 introduce the dramatic theme with all its twists and leaps and turns, and ending with that demi-semiquaver run, which to my mind invites us to have some fun. We already have to navigate some interval leaps, and it can be really useful to just create some exercises to help with this. Maybe start exploring harmonics. The F sharp harmonics over 3 octaves would help establish the tonic note and the resonance that we need and settle the key. And it's also useful for the ending of the piece with tuning and control over that final 3rd octave F sharp. Also, the C sharp harmonics can be very useful, especially right up to the high G sharp, which we need in bar 9, with that crazy leap from low C sharp to the high G sharp over 3 octaves above. It's also useful to explore your low resonances. Maybe find a good lip position for low C and C sharp. Maybe explore the A to low C sharp and low C and find that smooth link we need in bars 2 and 3. Exploring trills is a good idea. Thinking about the opening trill is a good idea. What is the function of this first trill? Is it a shimmer? Does it start slow and speed up? How does this trill draw us in? And how do we navigate out of this trill? It's up to you to make a decision, and I chose to start a little slower and then speed up. Then there's the trill in bar 5 on the C sharp, and for me this is more of a shimmer. It's useful to find a lip position to tune that C sharp trill. It can be really sharp, so we need to angle the air down, and it's useful to check against the low C sharp harmonic. Next, maybe explore ways to play bar 4. I think the opening 4-bar phrase lends itself some room for flexibility in the tempo. We could play it with a straight rhythm, but I think it's more fun played with more of a flourish, especially in bar 4. Moving on, bars 5 and 8 have a lovely quality. They shimmer and they dance in the relative major reveille. Bar 6 is interesting and the first of the big note anomalies between editions. In the version sent to me by Ludwig Boehm, the last 4 semiquavers are B, G sharp, E and D, a clear dominant 7th of A major, which the music has just modulated to. Well, this was a surprise, as in the other 3 editions, the notes are written as B, A, F sharp and E, so it's a fairly substantial change. Following this, bar 7 has that lovely scale in thirds and also a small trill on the top B, which is in all but the Chester edition. So another useful exercise would be to revise your A major scale in thirds, so you can freely dance up that run at whatever speed you want to. Bar 9 to 11 has drama, that low C sharp to the high G sharp over 3 octaves above. And luckily we've already covered that with our harmonics practice on C sharp. Bar 11 has that lovely descending triplet quaver sequence leading into the 9 bars that pivot around the C sharp dominant note. So in bars 12 to 19, Boehm gives us a real chance to strengthen our middle C sharps. Let's see how he does this while keeping our interest. And by looking at how he creates this interest, that helps to inform us where might be a good place to breathe. Again, breath marks are very different depending on the edition you are looking at, as are the slurs or the phrase marks. For example, in the Moyes edition, he has changed some slur marking to create space to breathe, usually after the resolution of the C sharp. This revised Boehm edition I am working from now has no breath marks indicated, and so I think in general there is room to choose your own as long as you can make it work musically. Bar 12 to 13 creates suspension and resolution around the C sharp on each of the crotchet beats, so we can choose to emphasise the crotchet rhythm. Bar 14 and 15 have a more relaxed circular feel and feature a min impulse, and Boehm also creates suspension with the rising scale in the lower notes. Bars 16 and 17 seem to suspend the C sharp entirely in midair across 8 or 9 beats. And this part makes me feel like I'm in a boat being rocked by the waves between the low C sharp and the middle C sharp, while we play the dominant 7th chord of F sharp major. So this dominant 7th chord continues into that 18 and 19, where the triplets unravel into quavers and we have to choose how we tongue those notes. Lots of fun. Bar 20 marks the start of the new and joyous F sharp major section, and this is clearly marked in the revised Boehm edition. The opening melody returns in the major key, but starting on his seemingly favourite dominant note of middle C sharp. Looking forward, bars 26 to 43 are now entirely made up of triplet quavers. That's a long time, and within those triplet quavers we have to find the ebb and flow of tempo and meaning, so we can emphasise the phrasing and create space to breathe. There is no need for me to talk through all of that, as many different interpretations are possible depending on how the music resonates with you. As part of this triplet quaver section, bars 28 to 31 feature once again, wait for it, his favourite pivot note of C sharp, this time used in a completely different way and so demanding a different response from us. I'm going to leave that to you for you to explore and have some fun with. So now we come to the section of the study that caused me the most anxiety from a note anomaly point of view, bars 30 and 31, which I'm glad to say has now been resolved thanks to the Boehm archive edition. So looking at the E's in bar 30 and 31, why was bar 30 E natural and bar 31 E sharp in the Moyes and the IMSLP editions? Was this implying F sharp melodic minor scale, E down and E sharp up? Or had we moved into C sharp minor, in which case both the E's would be natural, which they are in the Chester edition? Or should this be F sharp major, in which case both E's should be E sharp? So this niggled me every time I tried to play it. Something was not quite right, and I didn't want to play the study anymore. This, in the end, led to the desire to find out what Boehm had actually intended and to seek out a manuscript. So, now that we have Theobald Boehm's great-great-grandson's commissioned research and published edition, I am relieved to find out that these two bars are in F sharp major, and so in bars 30 and 31, both E's are sharp. It is such a relief for me to find this out. The only remaining note anomaly for me was on the last beat in bar 41, which is an A in the Chester edition and an F sharp in all the other editions. I can confirm that the note is an F sharp. Going back to the study, the piece returns to the F sharp minor in bar 34, which is clearly marked in the new edition, and the whole piece could conclude at bar 44. Instead, we get this lovely cadenza-like coda from 46 to the end, which is really enjoyable to play, but does challenge my breathing capacity. I'd really like to be able to play it slower and still do bars 47 to the end in one breath. And of course, it's really worth practicing the final bar to safely land that high F sharp. So lots of interest with the study. I began thinking I'd got away with a fairly straightforward 50-bar study. Little did I know what I was in for. I hope that's been helpful and of some interest for you, and really good luck and have great fun with it. And good luck with the whole of the rest of the challenge. I'm really looking forward to meeting some of you on the Zoom playthrough of all 24 studies coming up so soon on the 1st of June. Take care.